It is time for the last Cheltenham Matchbook Horse Racing podcast. I feel sad saying it because this is the last one we're doing this week. We are going to have Twitter Spaces throughout the week. Welcome along, everyone. Twitter Spaces throughout the week. If you don't know what they are, I'm not going to explain them now, but you'll see them floating around on Twitter. You want to use your mobile for it. That's going to be 11 a.m. each day. I'll be on track. We'll have set guests each day to give you their latest up-to-date thoughts on each of the 4 days of the Cheltenham Festival 2025. But this is the last preview where we're tying up our thoughts and we're maybe covering a bit of new ground with new information that has come to light. For example, Quebec declared in a hood, that sort of thing. We've got day 1 and 2 Decs, so we'll go through those in detail. We'll also have the final couple of days just previewing those. Please do like, follow and subscribe wherever you're listening. The best, no-cost way of supporting our content. And check out insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all the bets that go up. We've got loads of Cheltenham content, including the Matchbook Cheltenham Trail on YouTube, on your preferred podcast app as well. So there's lots to get stuck into. There's lots to digest, but this is the final preview we're going to do. And I'm delighted to be welcomed by out-and-out Cheltenham expert, probably the greatest Cheltenham mind there is, Micheál Deasy, and a huge Gaelic football fan, Matt Tombs. Have I got that? Is that right? That's right. You love the GA, don't you? Don't you, Tombsy?
Yeah, that is a real man's game as well, though, isn't it? That hurling. Jeez.
Yeah. Right, there's a sign-up offer as well, which you can see on your screen. If you're listening, I'll give it to you now. So you need to enter the code POD50. You get £50 in free bets when you bet 50. So you need to enter the code POD50 for new customers. When you do sign up, you'll see all the T's and C's there, but it's basically a £50 welcome offer. £50 in free bets when you bet 50. Use POD50 in order to take advantage of that. All right, Tuesday we go. The Michael O'Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurdle, first of all. Matt Tombs, we know something else now, and that is that Copec de Board is going to look to be the third winner ever for Willie Mullins declared in a hood at the Cheltenham Festival.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get a bit twitchy about him. When post-DRF, it was just a real wow factor, and yeah, he looks a banker. So I started thinking about Willie's hot pots in this. You Appreciate It, Duvan, Vautour, Champagne Fever, all pretty professional types. Classical Dream was a keen-going type, and he got the job done, but horses like Get a Bird and Dysart Dynamo, too keen and fell in a hole.
Mystical Power would be
unprofessional type.
Sorry, Matt. Mystical would be another. Mystical Power, was it last year? Was that another obvious one?
Yeah, absolutely. And not many of them actually win. And Copec de Board is not just a keen goer in the race. He seems to have a bit of an issue with the preliminaries as well. So you've got two things he's got to get through at a short price. So yes, he's the best horse in the race. In an ideal situation, you just wait and see, if you can, betting-wise, how he takes the preliminaries. If he boils over, you want to have a plan for what you jump ship to. I like Work Ahead. A couple of things that have happened since we discussed him at the Anti-Post show. His form keeps getting franked. William Money, Jacob's Ladder, who was beaten nearly a distance, has won a grade 3 recently. And he's also strong in the market in the run-up. It's especially important with Henry's horses. So if you want to have a bet now, I think he's a good win and place market bet against the favourite. But ideally, you wait and see how Copec de Board takes the preliminaries.
So 2.06 there, 2.06 Copec de Board. I mean, that made my decision for me, which is that, I really expected this horse on the form of last time to be shorter than that. I know the hood is a concern. It has to be. And also hooded horses, I think headgear horses in this race have just got a terrible record. But just on that raw ability, I feel like if you're getting 2.0 or bigger, I want him on side as opposed to opposing him. And I haven't really made my mind up about the rest, which I feel like is a proper the rest as opposed to what Copec de Board can do. So I want him on side at 2.0. It's very price relative, but that's the price I want him on board at. Incidentally, welcome along, everyone. We've got a good few comments coming in. Martin says, Slurricane each way the Boodles handicap. I think it's not the Boodles anymore. Been that for Ross Sullivan and Kate Walsh. Cheltenham Master says, I feel like the badger at the start of mating season. And Dale says, are you due to be culled? That's lovely. But let's hope you make it through the week, Cheltenham Master. Dale's very excited. Welcome along, everyone. Keep your comments coming in. DC, you're with Matt, aren't you?
$1.01 landed before the meeting even started.
Yes, I am with Matt. And it's very much a price thing as well. Like they both ran on the same card at Christmas, and they had almost the exact same time for the race, pretty much the exact same time from the second last home. Work Ahead was actually just a small bit faster from the last one home, but Kopek the board was kind of pulled up. But Work Ahead was carrying £5 more. So just on that bare farm, I think they should be closer together. The money is coming for Work Ahead as well, and Kopek the board has slightly drifted. And like the Willie thing, Willie has the exact same amount of winners in the Supreme the last 10 years as Nicky Henderson. They've 3 each. It's not like he wins it every single year. He has a sharp price favourite every year. I think there is probably a lot more upside back in Work Ahead than back in Kopek the board.
All right, let's move on to the Arkle. I will park this as part of a day one double, which is my best bet, which is obvious. I'm supporting Majborough. Matt, you put Majborough 1.62, and DC, you're looking for a forecast. I just want to check you make, as we can have a look at the prices. Majborough 1.6 now, Lotus at 6.2, Django Bay 9.0, bigger prices thereafter. You make the horse a bet at that, Matt?
Absolutely. I think he's the most likely winner of the whole week. And I can't believe he's this sort of price. Just looking at some of the other winners, Duvan was up against Sizing John, Grade 1 winning hurdler, had been third in the Supreme. Alcher was up against a bit less, but Charbel had been fifth in that White Hot Supreme. They were 4s on, 1.25, and yet he's about 1.6, and he's got nothing to beat. So it really does look bar an accident. I mean, the second favourite's Loda Sud, who's an exposed 138 rated hurdler, who'd been primed for the county, shown his ability of how fast he could run over hurdles. So I think it is bar an accident. And looking at the record, 7 of the last 13 Arkles had odds-on shots. All bar Simonsig won by 6 lengths or more. He did everything wrong, pulling hard and making mistakes, still won pretty easily. So, yeah, I absolutely make him a bet at that. Either you take the view that that's a fantastic price, get stuck on. If you don't like odds-on shots, just have him as the cornerstone of your ACCA.
The other point that Dan Skelton made to me is that, or has made openly, is that he loves Loda Sud, but he's aware, I think there was 7 seconds between the consecutive races last year, the Triumph and the County. And I think that's probably at the back of his mind that maybe Majborough is that bit better horse. I do get that impression for all he loves his. I think he'll be surprised if they beat it. DC.
Yeah, like Majborough was, I think he was the only horse that I watched at Dublin Race Festival. I just went, "Gee, this is unbelievable." So it was so good. In a festival where there was plenty of shorties that won by a distance, I just thought he was different level altogether. And I'm going to play a forecast with him coming first and Django Bay second. Lotus Sud is a very good horse, but I think Django Bay's form is better. In the December meeting there, beat Springwell Bay very easily, 6.5 lengths. Springwell Bay is a decent horse, and coming second to Handstands the last time heavy ground at Sandown, I don't think that's really a negative. Handstands is a proper horse and will probably win easily at the Entry Festival. I just think he's probably got better form in the book than Lotus Sud, and I can see him coming second to Majborough. So that's how I'll play this race. Although Majborough will be in all the doubles and trebles and everything else going in the day.
Dale makes a good point. It was a 2-horse race, and now Sergino's out. People say that Majborough may not win. Strange. Lump on. Move on to our first of our handicaps. This is the ultimate handicap. Chase, I'll come in first because I effectively set the last one out. I'm still with Broadway Boy. Just sort of I given his profile, I can't really not have him on board. He's perfect for this course and distance. Loves it here. He had an issue with a leg last time. Prior to that, he was just touched off at Newbury in a good race, and I thought the run before that was very much a prep run. So I guess you might look at it and say, well, he hasn't got his head in front this season. But 150, like, is he a gold cup horse? No. Could he cut it in Grade 1 company at the back end of last year? No. But is he good enough to win this off 150? I think definitely. And I think 9.0 win and place is very fair. For all I could have about 10 others on on show. I almost wish they put the cheek pieces back on because of the headgear stat for this race, but there we are. I don't know if there's much in that. Katai Dore 9.8, Broadway Boy 9.6 in there. Sorry, I missed the top of the market. I don't think anyone's putting up bang at the top, are we? Who are you with? Matt Tombs, first of all. No, 14.0 shot.
Yeah, Whistle Stop Tour. Case for him is fairly straightforward. Lucinda Russell, trained novice, won this twice with Correct Rambler, as we know, excels with staying chasers. He jumps, he stays, been well campaigned to get a mark of 136 here. He's won both his handicaps around 3 miles, 124, 130, both times shaping like it improved for a stiffer test. Lucinda actually had him in the Midlands National, which shows you how well she thinks he'll stay. And he's had the 2 runs over intermediate trips to qualify. The latter was in typically hot renewal of that novice handicap on trials day. So importantly, he looks professional. Be optimistic, a lack of experience won't catch him out. He looks to stay well. That's crucial here. Real test of stamina. They tend to go quickly. 10 of the last 19 winners are run in a marathon. 6 have run at 4 miles or more. So you want a horse that stays, because it's more of a staying test here because of the pace they go, with it being the jockey's first ride for many of them. So I think he's, like Tom says, there are quite a few you could like at the front of the market, but he seems decent win and place value.
And Matt and I are avoiding Ferro Bamboo this year at the Cheltenham Festival, who lines up over 3 miles, and we were adamant he doesn't get 2.5. There you go. Micheál Deasy.
The first one is Krabilly. He was my nap for my handicap nap for the plate. Look, he's obviously been brought back this year. He was supposed to have stones in hand last year, was unlucky not to win. Comes back here down a few pounds. He's only had 1 run at this kind of trip. That was at Aintree at the back end of last season, but he could have been over the top then. I just think it's interesting he's in here. And look, connections. John O'Neill is having his best year since 2013. This is the first time he's had over £1 million in prize money. He's good horses this year. Our first time over £1 million since 2013-14. So he's got good horses in the stable. Great record in this race. You know, you remember him winning with Hollywell and that kind of stuff not so long ago. It's only since Decs really that I kind of came to him, but I think he has a massive chance. But I'm going to back him win only, because I think he'll either win or he'll probably stay on in 6 or 7 or 8. He mightn't finish out the race. The other one then is another horse I put up there last week in the handicap one was the Short Go for Henry de Bromhead. Finished second over course and distance in the October meeting behind senior chief, his stablemate, ahead of Broadway Boy. Dosino Lemilas. It was just the 2 of them are well clear. I think they finished 10 lengths clear of the horse and third, Broadway Boy. She had another run in I think it was the Tri-Town the week after that, but fell and has been put away since. Probably wants better ground, I think. Last thing's going in her favour. She's big price. She's about 22.0 at the moment. Rachel Blackmore on board. I'll have her as a in each way bet in place.
All right. It's the first of the handicaps done. The Ultima, 4 different horses going up there. Mare's Hurdle next. So I mean, none of us are going with Lossiemouth. How are you playing it? And just your view on Lossiemouth, Matt, because she's now been declared for this race.
Yeah, this has gone from a really intriguing betting contest to a horrible betting event now, because she's a penalty kick if she's over a full and they're simply pot hunting. But if she's not, then she's vulnerable. And even if you want to back something else, it's very difficult. So the way I'm going to play it is to go in the without Lossiemouth market, take that factor out. The one I like is Carla Conti. She was part of a vintage juvenile crop last season, came back one off 130 down Royal, second to the Could Be Anything Amsterdam. And then she was up against July Flower at Christmas, her first time beyond 2 miles won. This was over 2.5. She was conceding July Flower £5, and they went really quickly. Jatara, who's a good mare, Deasy's going to talk about, who was up with the pace, folded, and she stays 3 miles. She won the Yorkshire Rose recently. July Flower's in the right position out the back. Yeah, the last flight was out, made a big difference with a real stamina test. And July Flower had been beaten less than 3 lengths in the French Champion Hurdle over an extended 3-mile one. Now, with the tempo of French races, that doesn't quite translate. But even so, up against Carla Conti, who'd just been running around 2 miles, it very much suited her. So I think Carla Conti's got every chance of turning the tables, more emphasis on jumping and speed. I want to take Lossiemouth out of the equation, and about 7.5 in the without Lossiemouth market. I think she's a decent bet.
I'll just jump in on Carla Conti because somebody put me on there before she'd run last year, and I thought she might be a runner in a Triumph. Then obviously you didn't see her after February. I think she's really interesting as well. I will back her because she's a fair old price. But the main bet is Jade de Grugy at 6.0. Like, I just think she's a bit of a bet to nothing. I just don't. If Lossiemouth's good enough and backed, over the fall. And that's the point that a lot of trainers in particular have made about this. This is a mare having had a crunching fall last time, and it really can affect them. So if she's not over it, then I think Jade. If she goes and wins, fine. But Jade de Grugy win place, I think it's just why not? DC.
This is probably a ground dependent pick. I think Jatara is way too big a price as an each way bet, win place bet. Probably not to win, but I can see her definitely running into third or fourth, maybe second. She started off the season winning a listed race at Limerick, and then ran in the Corra, won and that again on good ground and yielding ground. There were excuses given for Navan that she was in season. Again, look, she ran fine there at Christmas, but she was given a bit of a break and came back and won over 3 miles at Doncaster with headgear put on her for the first time. She's always been fairly high class. She went off nearly second favourite, I think, to Dancing City in the Dublin Racing Festival last year after a really impressive win at Christmas. I think she's overpriced at the price. She's 34.0. So I'm going to play her place only, probably for 4 places and 3 places on Matchbook.
All right, now the champion, Constitution Hill. Let's get the prices up for this champion hurdle. We've got a team steam here. 1.72 Constitution Hill. Brighter Days Ahead 3.35. State Man 12.5. First time cheap pieces. Bigger prices thereafter. So, well, it's part of my day one double. I'll come back to this, but Constitution Hill, I have very much on side. I just don't see DC how Brighter Days Ahead, who got beat by Golden Ace here last year, and I think that has to be a massive concern. Not having it for a minute that she was outspeeded. She was just way below par on her sole Cheltenham run. Like, she's way better than she showed 12 months ago. That's a niggling doubt for me. And even if she was 100%, I think you've got to ask yourself, is Brighter Days Ahead a better mare than Annie Power was? Absolutely not at the moment. Would Constitution Hill beat Annie Power? For me, yes. I just can't. I can't have him beat.
Yeah, I think he will absolutely demolish them. I think he's the best ever. He's the best horse I've ever seen since I was following racing. I think, and definitely best hurdler. And there's too much made of how what happened. He was only off for a year. He wasn't off for a year and a half, and he only missed half a season really. He's been brought back perfectly well. Nicky Henderson has done this before with horses that had with Sprinter Sacra, brought him back. I think he will win by lengths. Absolutely destroy them. I don't even care about who's going to come second or anything. At the price is there now 1.7. That's a bet. He will never go off that price again.
Matt, what do you want to add?
Just on the question of Brighter Days Ahead, perhaps she's one of those horses who is miles better off a really strong gallop and can't sprint off a crawl. Remember Rooster Booster in this? He was absolutely brilliant when into Sky Falcon went off very quickly. Then he ran in loads of small field conditions races where they went steadily, and he was 20 pounds below that form. So you could just about make a case for her on that basis. But otherwise, I agree with you, lads. I trust Nicky Henderson. I don't think he's been vaguely fit so far. And crucially, the vibes are really good. Sometimes the vibes from Seven Barrows are completely worth ignoring. But in this case, they are really, really convincing. And I think we'll look back about 4:10 tomorrow and go, how on earth they go off about 1.72?
Okay, moving on. Simple as that. I love it when Cheltenham's simple. Moving on from the champion hurdle, we've got the Fred Winter Nothing from you, Matt. Take it away, Dees.
Yeah, look, Beyond Your Dreams, put him up on the handicap one as well last week. I think, look, won't want it really soft ground. I don't think it's going to be really soft ground. Just looks really well handicapped. Just had the bare few runs to qualify. Looked really good in all of them. Great connections. Short enough price though, I have to say. She's coming in a lot to orders out, but I can see her running a big race. The other one then, Justin's Decs, Paul Townend is riding Sony Bill. He doesn't really ride many handicappers. He'd won last year. Observe. The last time he ran in this, had a runner in this race was Gaelic Warrior. So they obviously must think, I suppose Townend must think he's worth getting on. So I think that's a tip in itself. Lows in this race I could have put up, but I'm going to stick with those two. I think Beyond Your Dreams is pretty solid. Yeah.
That's the only. I'm putting up Sonny Bill. The reason is he hadn't really been on my radar. I've been putting up Wendrock. I'll still have a bit on Wendrock probably, who's top weight in this. But it's the Paul Townend factor. I think in the last 3 festivals he's ridden 5 handicappers. 2 of them have won. Another one was Gaelic Warrior, who should have won. He just only rides them if they know there's bang loads in hand. Wendrock 29.0. So I definitely want him on side. So those are the 2 I'll probably back. In fact, I will back. National Hunt Chase. Matt, you kick us off. We both like this horse.
Yeah, Resplendent Grey. With a full field of 18, this should be a very different race from recent years, the level weights version. Small field, pretty steady gallop. It wasn't a test of stamina that the distance implies. I'm guessing that we're going to get a fair bit faster tempo now. His form, 2 runs at 3 miles, looks strong in the context of this. Extended 3 miles in November, he made a mistake 2 out, finished like a train to nearly catch Highland. I think with a good jump at the second last or over another half a furlong, he'd have won pretty cosily. Highland was giving him £3, but was a good second in the Courthouse Star, rated 147. Then went to the Grade 2 Isha and got tapped for toe when the pace quickened. But again, stayed on really powerfully to go down by only 3.5 lengths at levels to Handstands, who's now rated 154 after winning the Towton and Scilly Isles. Form got another boost at the weekend when Ho Jody Smoke won at Sandown on an £8 higher mark than when Resplendent Grey beat him easily at Utoxeter. So all that makes 142 look a good mark. Does shape as if a step up to a marathon trip will really suit him. And he'll also have the assistance of Sean Bowen. He's obviously riding really, really well at the moment. And his power pack finishing style could be crucial at the business end because there could be some tired horses at the end of this.
Yeah, I like him. Also, Jericho Rock is another one I want on side. Dave Neverson has spent a long time on Saturday taking me through the case for this horse. I like it. And crucially, David Pipe is coming into this festival in a lot better form than he has done for a while. Looking for a first festival success for some time, for 7 years. But then I think 3 of his last 4 winners have been in a Kimya and 2 in an Ultimate. This is another staying chaser type with back form that's really solid. Sure, he has to be a bit over his issues of a few years ago. His first start for a while seemed to indicate that, and he's just very well treated. So I definitely want him on side at around about 13.0. DC.
The first one I have is Captain Cody. Martin mentions him there in the comments. You can bring that up there in a second. But look, he's being entered for Michael O'Sullivan. They were going to skip it and go to one of the later spring festivals. But even besides that, I think he would have a great chance anyway. He's good solid horse, good jumper, would stay the distance, and he will be tuned up to the last when they'll be going all out to get this for what will be a very emotional winner if it does happen. The other one I like then is Heracles Westwood. I'd say the English could probably have the winner of this. I'd say there's been moving this to a handicap is really going to suit them, and he's just a horse that has run. He's been very, very, very solid all the way through the season. He caught my eye winning at Windsor in January. He beat Meyer Town was actually running in that race. The horse was probably going to run well in the Ultimate as well. I was watching him. He finished ahead of Jericho Rock and Kintara as well. But I liked the way he went through that race. I'd say Windsor, the way Windsor rides, because you're kind of always on the turn in it and it is kind of a sharp track. I'd say that form could translate well to Cheltenham, especially the old course. He's a big price. He's been solid all season. He finished third the last time to Lord of Thunder and Pick Rock, who are two decent horses, just didn't finish it out. I think it might have been very soft ground that day. But he's a big price, and they've booked Harry Cobden for it, which I think is a big thumbs up for his chances.
Okay, and that's us done, isn't it, on day one? Right. So, Matchbook Zero long shot. Remember, Matchbook Zero goes live an hour before each race. If you want a Cheltenham win bet, that is the place to go because you're most likely to get best odds. A zero margin, zero commission. Mine Jericho Rock at 12.0 in the National Hunt Chase. Matt?
Whistle Stop Tour in the Ultima.
And DC?
He's not as long a long shot as I'd like, but Krabilly in the Ultima 10.0.
Well, they're probably perfect. And then best lays. So I think you're observing from a similar hymn sheet, both of you. Matt, first of all.
Yeah, I do want to watch Kopech de Board in the preliminaries. If he's got himself in a state, I'd be prepared to lay him out at about 2.5.
Dees?
Yeah, I'd be the same. I'd lay him. I suppose if he's supported into odds on, I would be more worried about it, but I definitely am at even money. Just have even money to field, I think, is a great bet in the Supreme.
Day one best bets then. Mine is the day one double. It's obvious. Madgeborough Constitution Hill. I think it pays about 2.5, something like that. Madgeborough Constitution Hill. Line your pocket week, surely. So hoping that comes in, Matt.
Yeah, and he is odds on, but I just think Madgeborough is so much bigger than he should be that, you know, if you want to get some betting money for the week, smacking into him is a good idea.
DC?
Krabilly in the Ultimate.
Wednesday. The Turners Novices Hurdle then. All right, DC, you first of all. This also got headgear on, hasn't it?
So do I know. I haven't got the race card up.
Oh, no, sorry, tongue tie. First time tongue tie for Potter's Charm.
Yeah, I think he's been a really forgotten horse. He was so good at the start of the season, and maybe because he was beaten there in trials day there in January, that they seem to kind of lost a bit of the luster. But so good at the start of the season, had 2 wins in the course, 1 over course distance, absolutely destroying Valgrand. Again, followed up at entry there at Christmas. Maybe that took a bit out of him. He was dropped 2 miles. He is following a very similar prep to the new one, who I think he was beaten on trials there when he came back to win the Ballymore as it was then, or the Neptune or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called now. It's the Turners. He's 15.0. I just think that's way too big a price for a horse with course form. That's going for him, and I'll have him definitely as a win place bet.
Okay, Matt Tombs.
Yeah, he very much the trends horse, isn't he, Potter's Charm? Because he's got the 2 mile Grade 1 form from the Formby. So I'll be kicking myself if he wins, because that's the way I've bet this race for years and years. I'm just slightly concerned that in recent years, the Mullins A-team are in this. Sir Gerhard, Impere Pass, Ballyburn, they've been the speed horse, the 2 miler. And now they've got the stayer in Final Demand. And the vibes are they've cottoned on that you've got to go a decent gallop on a stayer in this, because otherwise it turns into a test of speed and you get done for toe. So if he goes out poor and makes it a proper gallop, I think he'll win. That 2 mile 6 DRF race hasn't been a great guide, but the biggest previous winning margin was 5 lengths. He won by 12 lengths. So he could be a cut above the average Nathaniel Lacey winner. So I think he's an ideal play in running on the Matchbook Exchange. Wait and watch the first half mile or so. And if he is going a really good gallop, then I think he can run the finish out of the others.
Yeah, interesting. Our producer Dan Hussey's pointing out that there are pacemakers potentially there for him too. I feel like if we're going to be dealing with good ground on the Wednesday on that course, his profile, just exactly what Matt's saying, isn't the obvious type. It's not like I don't think he's a good horse at all. He's got bang loads of potential, but I think he'll be beaten by a faster horse who's looking to buck the 0 from 21 shallow trend, sure, but I've just been sweet on the New Line all season. he's been a good horse for me personally on a punting point of view, and I sort of just want to keep him on side. I think he's up there with the best novices that Britain have seen for a little while. I think he's a proper animal, and I think he's the ideal profile for this race. Albeit he's a Cheltenham winner, but I've got to have him on side. Even though he's shortened up a good bit now, I'd still be happy enough with 2.87. Brown Advisory then. I'm looking forward to this, Dees. So I basically can't get my head around Ballyburn. It's frying me, and I just need to make a decision on the morning. But you're with.
Yeah. I think Ballyburn is a fast horse. First of all, I don't think he went really, really heavy ground. Even there last year, like he won the race at that used to send up the champion hurdlers, the turners. I don't really see what he's done wrong this year. Like beaten by Sergino that day, like 2 miles is too short for him, and Sergino was a freak. Like Sergino would have beaten any horse that day. And I think beating Croke Park the last day in that race, look, that was again really impressive. I don't see what he's done wrong. I think he has more class than the rest of them. He was a better hurdler than all the rest of them put together. Stellar Story, if it goes soft, I would give Stellar Story a chance of maybe finishing second, but I don't really see why Ballyburn wouldn't win this. It's not like he's going up a mile in trip. He's only going up a small bit in trip. He'll be able to pop around, and I think that once he's thereabouts coming up the hill, I think he'll have far too much speed for him. I think he'll just go away from them. I'd be fairly strong on him. I had a good look through this race. I wasn't sure about him. I just kept coming back to him. I just think he's the best horse in the race, and this is a decent renewal. I think this is a right good race, but I think he should be better than him.
Matt, what do you think?
I did a bit of research the other day, and and I tried to find a winner of this that had won a Grade 1 2-mile hurdle, because he won the Brave Inca at DRF last year, which was a very strong Grade 1. It wasn't like he was winning an egg and spoon one. I went back to 1990, and not only could I not find a horse that had won a Grade 1 hurdle at around 2 miles, I couldn't even find one who'd run in one. Lord Windermere, who ran the old 2 Mile 2 Delight's the only winner who's run in a race, a Grade 1 hurdle at less than 2.5 miles. So on breeding, Ballyburn should improve for this step up in trip. But none of all those siblings and half-siblings who've been such good stayers, like Noble Endeavour, who's third in the Ultima, had anything like his speed. So actually, do we think he's going to stay? He's a keen going type, and he also tends to land with little momentum. He's got 5 more fences and 3 extra furlongs more than when he won the Moriarty, which I thought he won through a turn of foot. So providing that the Elliott battalions get the pace right and make this a proper test of stamina, then I think there's a decent chance he won't stay, and I think there's a decent chance he won't jump well enough, not in terms of making mistakes, but in terms of landing with enough momentum. So that's why I want to take him on. Which horse do I want to take him on with? Kind of depends on the ground a bit. I think if it comes up a sound surface, Gorgeous Tom's interesting. Flew home with the Drimmore off a steady pace. 3 miles and unknown, he could improve. If it's soft ground, I sort of abandoned Better Days Ahead, who I was with last season, because I thought his finishing effort wasn't great at Fort Lean. He looked to hang in behind Croke Park. Maybe Croke Park came across him a bit, and I'm being a bit harsh. Maybe he was idling in the 10 up. So I think I'm probably going to look at what the ground's like, and I hope you're right, Tom, and it's really a nice surface and that they haven't overwatered it, and then it's more likely to be Gorgeous Tom for me.
Okay, that is the Brown Advisory. Moving on to the Coral Cup. Comfort Zone's been put up by Dan Over, I think, earlier in the week. I like Comfort Zone. Joseph Bryant could have a mighty week. Just watched that race back last time, and I thought he did a lot right for coming back for lining up here. Mark Walsh on board for Joseph O'Brien, even though even post-trial Nick Hedda Boinville rides, but I quite like Comfort Zone here for Joseph. Previous course when he was a juvenile. Matt, who do you like?
I've got a bit of a short list here. I know DC likes Maxim, so I'll let him make the case for him. My concern about Maxim is they put a £5 claimer on. Now, from what I've seen, Carl Miller looks a really promising rider, but very different from having Jack Kennedy on board. So stat for you, top weights ridden by claimers at the festival, 0 from 59 this century. 17 of the 25 claimer-ridden winners that time been allocated less than 11 stone. 4 claims are taken into account. It's the mark that matters much more than the weights. I just wish trainers put the best jockeys on the top weights more. The other 2 I'm interested in, Ballyadam, particularly if the ground's good, great festival record. 2nd in the Supreme, 5th in the county, 5th and 2nd in this. He's £4 higher this year, but he only had 1 run, hidden in a minor conditions race. Great way to protect your mark. And he hasn't had his ground for a while at the festival. So he's interesting. The other one is Eagle Fang. So these are the top 3 in the ratings. But actually, the record of horses, 10 of the last 16 winners from the top 8 in the weight. So don't be put off by that. And if you're interested in Eagle Fang, when you're analysing form, remember Oakley Brown can claim his £5 here. He couldn't in the Lismullen and the Long Walk. So if you adjust for that, it makes him look a bit better handicapped, I think.
All right, DC, pick out. Well, I think both of you have been mentioned.
Yeah, fairly sweet Maxim. I think Carl Miller is an excellent jockey. Well worth his £5. And look, they need to put him on him because he's running off top weight and this. Give him a bit of a break. Look, he's come in a lot. He was 33s last week before Decs. Now he's been declared. He was about 17.0. He is rock solid 3-mile handicapper. He's top weight because he's arriving here off a win. He beat the Devil's Coachman there last day, who has subsequently won since. He was supposed to go on the race last year when I kind of fancied him to run well in the stairs hurdle, but he was pulled out because of the deluge, because it was such soft ground. We're not going to have that this year. He's fairly versatile as long as it's not extreme heavy. And look, I don't think you want to really unexpose on this. I think you want something that'll be able that has experience running in 20 runner handicaps where they go full belt. He'll definitely stay. I think he's a great chance, even off top weight. And Comfort Zone, again, look, he's been put up by loads of people. He put him up as well last week in the handicap one. Just think he's another one that Joseph is lined up for connections. Mark Walsh is on him. I could see him going off even shorter than what he is now. I could see him going off 7.0, maybe even less. I'd say the money will keep coming for him. So I would back him today if you want to back him, and have a bit more on the day if you want. But, yeah, I love those 2. Yeah.
That is the Coral Cup looked at. A reminder, we're going to have Twitter Spaces every morning of the festival around about 11 a.m. So keep an eye out on X for our Spaces every morning. We'll have a great team, plenty of whom will be at Cheltenham for you, giving you the latest news from the track and latest bets as well on the day. Do like and subscribe now if you are watching or listening along, and it's the best no-cost way of supporting our content. And give us any selections as well. Put anything in there that you really like. What's your nap of the festival? We'd love to hear from you, and I will read a few out. All right, we'll move on to the cross-country handicap again now. You two, first of all, I'll probably back this horse as well. DC.
Galvin. Matt is much stronger. He'll make a better case, but look, Galvin has course form, granted the weights. They gave him an entry early on in the season to make sure he was going to be around this mark, and haven't really run him since. I think course form is the most important thing in this. Ground will be perfect for him. Just wins.
Go on then, Matt.
Yeah, the crucial point here is that the weight matters much less than you would think if you were using ordinary handicap principles. The last 5 winners would have won on a pound a length basis, even if it had been a £20 handicap. And because they go so slowly, it's even easier in practice than that. So it's all about, as DC says, being able to adapt to the course. We know Galvin can do that. He ran second on ground he wouldn't have liked to Delta work. Look, the best horse, just got outstayed. He's a proper grade 1 horse. He's not a handicapper like Stumptown or Bustleton. And he's still running well. You know, he was good enough to beat Aplutar in a grade 1 the year Aplutar won the Gold Cup. He was a high 160s horse. But he was 4th in the National last year, 2nd in the US in the autumn, goes really well fresh. He won the 4 mile off a long break since the autumn. So now that Good's appearing in the going description, and they aren't watering this, he's a maximum bet at around 5.5. I'd absolutely lump on him.
Maximum.
I like that. I absolutely like Galvin. The other thing that is going to make me have a bet is blinkers on Bustleton. He's won twice with blinkers going on. Well, once they went on first time, and the other time he won was that they went back on. He had them on another 2 times going back on, and once he pulled up, and once he was a bit disappointing as well. But look, I've got to flesh out my case. But I do think they will, particularly around here as well, around the nature of this cross-country course. I think that's having those back on is a really big plus. So I'm positive about that. I think he might get more of a positive ride as well as a result. And he's had a couple of times here. He ran over hurdles as well for this. They managed to get the mark down to 138. I thought it was a solid bet, 8.0 with the blinkers back on for Bustleton. That's the cross country. We move on to the champion chase. DC and I are with John Bon. Don't you think, DC, that the great thing about John Bon is that he's less good around Cheltenham? So actually, you're getting a decent price against an absolute like what a weak division of a champion chase this is. I mean, John Bon, like he's give this horse some respect. He's outrageously talented. I think he's a really good bet.
Is he less good around Cheltenham? Is he really?
100%. I asked Aidan Coleman. Aidan Coleman says he reckons he's 85% of his best around Cheltenham, and I mean he's ridden him enough times, right? He's definitely the horse is below par around Cheltenham. Like I know he got a forceful ride in a Supreme, where they tried to do something with Constitution Hill, and it backfired. The rearranged Slur when it all went tits up, yes, and then his first start this season at Cheltenham, he probably needed it, and the champion chase was it the Arkle where he got beat by the double green? He was below par. I think he's less effective around Cheltenham. Yes, he's not as good there as he is going flat right-handed around a Sandown. Definitely not. But he's good enough to win this, and because of the Cheltenham doubts, you're getting a better price. Sorry, Deece, you lit me up there.
That's okay. I'm glad to see someone so passionate about John Bon. I'm a massive John Bon fan as well. I'd say he's been unlucky around Cheltenham. Like beaten by Constitution Hill in the Supreme. When he was beaten by El Fabiolo on the Arkle, the stable weren't in great form. I remember that year. I said actually in the podcast about a week before that the stable weren't in great form. I think they had a bad year. Same last year, didn't even run last year, was pulled out. I think this is the first year where he's going to arrive in Cheltenham, and it's just been an absolutely perfect season. He has demolished everything he's come up against. He is a supreme athlete of a horse. And yeah, I love him, and I hope to see him win. Yeah, I think he's just a brilliant jumper. I just think he's been unlucky around Cheltenham, and redemption is nigh.
John Bon love is what you don't get much on the preview circuit, but there's plenty of it here. Dan Hussey, our producer, says Solness wins from the front. Not around here. You go around the outside at Leopardstown all you want, but here, for him, I think he might stare up that hill and do a little cry. Matt, what do you think?
I do think John Bon's slightly less good. He's certainly no beef or salmon. He's effective at Cheltenham, but I think he's been sort of maybe 4 or 5 pounds less good than at Sandown. The positive for John Bon is the thing you lads have touched on, which is that he comes here in brilliant form. When he was beaten in the Supreme, he hadn't been great in the Rossington Main. When he was beaten in the Arkle, he hadn't been great in the Kingmaker. Everything's gone well this year. But to me, his best form was in the Tingle Creek this year. I don't think beating an 11-year-old Energumene on good ground is that level of form. And if he's a sort of a low to mid 170s horse at his best, and he's a few pounds lower here, he's about 170. Now that might well be good enough to win, but it's not bomb-proof. And the one I want to take him on with at a big price is Quilixios, who's about 29.0. He flopped at DRF, but Henry's were out of form, came home sore. Vibes are much stronger now, said he'd been working well at home. He didn't like the testing ground in the Tingle Creek, I don't think, but he was still 8 lengths second to John Bon. So he's got place claims on that, especially if John Bon isn't quite as good here and Quilixios is better on better ground. He thumped Marine Nationale, who goes really well fresh, and Barry Connell was very bullish before that race at Naas. He won by 7.5 lengths, giving him £4. So given he's got excuses for his last 2 runs, I think he should be much shorter. And the vibes are so often, as we mentioned about Henry's, are important. So I'd be inclined to back him now, take the 29.0, because if he is going to run well and possibly even win, then he's going to go off a lot shorter.
All right, that's the Champion Chase. We move on to the Grand Annual. DC, you've already put up Unexpected Party on the preview. You've got another one, the handicaps preview. You got another one with him.
Yeah, I put up the total on the handicap preview. Just go back to Unexpected Party's form again this year. He's this year's Langer Dan. Even the last day there, like he's come down 2 pounds since being beaten out of the screen by John Bond there on the Star Chase. The last time there, he was beaten by Matata at Windsor, and like he finished first of the non-triers in the race. He was ahead of Cribilli and Harper's Brook, and you know they've done an unbelievable job to get him here down a few pounds and not running off top weight. I think he'll take a load of beating. And the other one then is Western Zephyr for Charlie Longsden. Sean Bowen on board as well. Brilliant jockey booking. This horse is actually a second season novice chaser, so he is both unexposed and experienced at the same time, if he can be. He not much form last year, but he was given wind surgery over summer and came back probably a stone better. Won on debut with Carlisle, absolutely running away from up the hill, pinged the last, very eye-catching. Then he finished second to Loda Sud in the Arkle trial in the November meeting. Again, ran very well. He's really good jumper. And it ran once more at Christmas, didn't come anywhere, probably ground was too soft for him. I think that good to soft ground is going to bring out the best in him. He's a massive price. You're going to be getting 5, 6, might be getting 7 places in this. I think he's probably under the radar because he's Charlie Longsden horse, but he's having a pretty good season as well, and his horses prefer better ground, so I'm willing to give him a shout there at 34.0, Western Zephyr.
2 I'm going to have in this are 2 with a sort of classic Grand Annual profile. It worked last year with Unexpected Party. I've just another one because he's my best long shot of the day. So sorry to our producer because I've just thrown that in. But that's third time lucky because I just feel like he's an ex-Dan Skelton horse, but maybe Fergal O'Brien's doing what Down did with Unexpected Party. I don't know. He might have just gone, but he's been beaten a total of about 75 lengths on 3 starts this year, but as a result, he is what was he 149 when he ran in this couple of years ago. So he's £15 lower. I just, he is capable here. I think it'd be silly not to have him on side given the profile. The other one's So Scottish, tongue tie off, wind done, normal cheek pieces on the face of it, a poor season, but and I think this is a pace at this trip is probably what he wants. I thought it was more obvious than 11.0 So Scottish with him being aimed at this race. So I want those 2 on side. Champion bumper, just you, Matt Tombs.
Yeah, and just on the Grand Annual, Western Zephyr and Third Time Lucky are 2 on my shortlist. Definitely agree with you lads on those. I mentioned Bambino Fever when we did the trail the other day. A couple of updates. Firstly, switch from Diesel Frankfurt form from DRF by winning at Nace the other day, so that's good. Second is that Jodie Townend rides. And so ignoring the COVID year when amateurs couldn't take part, amateurs have won 10 of the last 15 renewals, including 6 of the last 7. Now, Patrick Mullins is 4 of those, but John Gleeson, Katie Walsh, Brian O'Connell, Robbie McNamara have all won. So punters, unless Patrick's on, because that's the Mullins number 1, assuming he can do the weight, punters want to side with the pros. And that's normally a good call, but the Irish Bump horse is ridden by the amateurs almost all the time. So they have advantage of knowing their horses. I'd be optimistic Jodie can deliver if Bambino Fever's good enough. But she's about 8.0 at the moment, and I'd expect her to drift. So I'd be waiting to back her nearer the time.
That's just one view on the Champion bumper then. Okay, Matchbook 0 long shot, hour before each race. Best place for a win bet, given you're most likely to get best odds. Third time lucky for me in the Johnny Jensen Grand Annual, 26.0. Matt, your long shot is?
Quilixios, 29.0 in the Champion Chase. My best long shot of the whole week.
DC?
Maxim in the Coral Cup.
Lays, Matt Tombs, I know what you're laying.
Ballyburn.
Ballyburn in the Brown Advisory. DC, your lay?
Final Demand in the Tormers.
And best bets, mine's John Bon in the Queen Mother. Big love for John Bon. Matt?
Wednesday's going to be a big day for me because Galvin's my best bet of the week at around 5.5 in the cross country.
Okay, so you got your bet. Basically, Your best bet with Galvin, your best long shot with Quilixios, and probably your best lay with Ballyburn, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Of all week?
Yeah. So it's Wednesday could make or break me this week.
There you go. If you don't see Matt Tombs on Thursday at Cheltenham, we know it might really bad either way. Hopefully you're there. Your best bet, Dees?
Unexpected party for the Grand Annual.
All right, we're just going to talk Thursday, Friday. Tom says transmission 6.0 win place is what you're trying to say in the National Hunt Chase. Good course form earlier on in the year. Patrick Mullins on board. Thanks for those. Keep those coming in. If you want to let us know your nap, then please do in the last 5 or so minutes of this cast. We're just going to rattle through Thursday, Friday, just any bets we may not have put up already. I'll just do them in order that I've got in front of me. So Thursday, first of all, this is going to be me saying I want to back Tiupu now in the stairs. I went through that race again yesterday and just thought, what is going to beat Tiupu? What is? I can't find anything to beat him. And I was teetering on, just looking at backing something at a big price, which is when I picked out Langadan. You can make that case, Dees, but I want that horse on side, as mad as it seemed. He's only a short head away from being a Grade 1 winner. He comes alive at the festival. We know this. It's obvious. And he has every right to be there around this track. If you look at his Galopin form, for example, he's good enough to, I think, finish ahead of the rest of these. But Tiupu, I don't think he'll beat. But I want both of those on side. I also want to back Nürburgring. Shout out to Josh Stacey for switching me right onto this horse and just watching those last couple of runs back. Step up in trip. I wonder if he'll just bounce out. I think he was about 9.0 for a Jack Richards. I'll be backing him. Matt Tombs, Thursday.
Feat of a Dancer at 11.0 in the Potemps final, coming from that qualifier at Leopardstown that's produced 6 of the last 9 winners. And very much like Mrs. Milner 4 years ago for Paul Nolan, she was ridden with plenty of light at Leopardstown, intermittently keen, got to the front in the straight, made sure she was in a position definitely going to qualify, and then allowed to flatten out. If you go back and watch that video of Mrs. Milner, exactly the same thing happened. So if she can be buried in the pack and settle here, I can see her improving a fair bit and giving Paul another winner in the Potemps.
Dees, anything else on Thursday?
I'll be backing Langerdan and I said the Wall Park in the stairs. I think the Wall Park would have won the Potemps off top weight if he ran in it, but fair play to them. They've gone for this race. I don't think it'll be soft for Tiupu. I think he needs it heavy. I don't think it'll be heavy. I just think he's very ground dependent, and I think he's vulnerable. It's too short. The Wall Park, again, just wildly impressive when he won at Cheltenham. I saw someone that he is one of the best finishing sections of the season, I think, at Cheltenham. So look, I think he'll run a cracker. Langerdan, been backing him since the 5th of December. I was texting the head of his fan club, Daniel Hussey, about him. Then again, look, he's been well back for this now. He's into a shorter price, but again, look, he was probably always this caliber of horse, and they picked up 2 Carl Cups. Fair play to them. He's still only 9. He seems like he's been around for years. I think this is his 4th or 5th Cheltenham Festival. I can see. I don't know will he win, but I can't see him out of the top 3 or 4. And maybe he's a bet in play that you can. You might. He's what is he 16.0 now? Probably get bigger than that in play because he'll be sitting out the back and will fly home. But yeah, I think he has a great chance in this. And I really like your tip there on Nürburgring as well. I was watching him back this morning. He came from absolutely miles back in the Triumph last year. You wouldn't have seen that at the time, but yeah, he's an interesting one.
Okay. Some clerks of the courses have been on, D, saying Tiupu needs it heavy. From Cheltenham last year, John Pullen says, piss off, it was soft. So the Punchestown Club of the course wanted to remind you that it was yielding at Punchestown, but that's fine. I'll tell them where you live, Dees.
There are lies, damn lies, statistics, and Cheltenham Festival going descriptions.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, we want to keep John Pullen on side here. Friday, I wanted to make the point about East India Dock. Now, I want to back East India Dock. If Nicky Henderson has a good week, I can see Lilamba going off favourite, and there could be a go in again job on East India Dock because I've really come round to him. I think that he could go off second in the market, particularly if Nicky has a good week coming to Friday. Matt, Friday?
County Hurdle. This is the hardest race of the whole festival to win being ridden prominently. 26 years ago was the last time it happened. So hold-up horses have a fantastic record, and Lark in the Morning won last year's Fred Winter from right out the back, despite connections thinking the heavy ground was really against him. That form with Eagles Rain and Nadawi and Harsh all running well in big handicaps or winning since has been boasted. He's £10 higher off 132, but he should get a sound surface on Friday, which they think is really the key to him. I'm expecting him to improve again, and I think he'll take a lot of beating here.
Dees, what have you got?
My first one is Derry Hassan Paddy in the Albert Bartlett. I'd be a big fan of the big Westerners, but he's too short. There was a big tip when they were on for him there, I think about 2 weeks ago. I had people who don't follow racing at all text me about it, so he's been absolutely smashed. And I'd say he'll go off bigger on the day. But Derry Hassan Paddy for Lucinda. I saw him run at Windsor there in January. He was actually entered in a Supreme trial at Haydock on the same day. But if you go back and watch how he won this race, he just a really tough game horse. He was the lead. He lost the lead, I'd say, twice in a run and got back up. He hasn't run since. I'd say if there's going to be any day of the week now we're going to have proper soft ground, I'd say it'll be Gold Cup Day. I don't think they'll let it go off really fast. So as well as that, I don't think he will want it really good going. But if it's going to be soft ground, 17.0, he'll be one of the big price in the Albert Bartlett. I think he's just the kind of profile you would want for this race, just a really tough horse. I'm with Matt with Lark in the Morning as well. I'll definitely back in him. And the other one then, just got a tip for this to the race. I said I put him up west of Carrick in the Hunter's Chase is 33-1. I know nothing about the farm, but the fellow gave it to me with no the cracks, so 33-1 west of Carrick.
Good. I like those ones. The amount of times I do it as well.
Yeah.
When I put up a horse, every brown envelope job I do I do one a box every day, and when it comes to the Hunter Chase, I'll always go in and go, not a clue, but a mate of mine.
Yeah.
Which is normally Matt Tombs. Anyway, please do check out our previews every day on X. The Twitter space is 11 a.m. each day. They'll just be short, sharp, anything we've decided since we've done all the circuits and the previews and sort of last minute decisions on each and every day of the Cheltenham Festival. Head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all of the team's best bets across all of the previews as well. There is shed loads of Cheltenham content out there from Matchbook, and there's still time for you to take it all in before we start tomorrow, where we are. Oh, no, I was going to say, it's not now 1:30 first. Is it 1:20 now?
Yeah.
It's not 24 hours to go. 23 hours, 50 minutes. See you there. Bye-bye.